Pretty much everything about this video, at least for this channel, is new, and I'm super excited about it. First off, I'm standing. Second, I am in my new studio, which is pretty much set up. I have a few little things that I need to change. And third, and most importantly, the gear. So I'm using Ableton Live here, which I've pretty much never used before. I'm also using my new mixer, the Model 1.4 by playdifferently. Sounds amazing. PC-12, which is a MIDI controller. If you've watched this channel, you've already seen this a bunch. And a Launchpad by Novation. For about the past 2 years, this channel has focused almost exclusively on electronic music hardware, DAWLESS gear, if you will. Today might mark the turning point of this channel. I'm really liking this setup, and based on what I've already seen, there's nothing, like groundbreaking about this setup, but I just wanted to show you guys how I'm using it. As I'm sure a lot of you already know, there's a lot of issues with fully DAWLESS setups. For me, mainly, it was just the amount of time that it takes to create a set. It's like hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. And this is where I think going hybrid really helps. It's a lot more efficient and you save a lot more time putting together a set. I'm actually predominantly a Logic user. I've been using it for over 10 years now, and hardware isn't really that compatible with it. So switching to Ableton has just been an absolute breeze. Everything is super easy to set up. Let's break down the audio flow of this setup. Audio is coming from Ableton Live and is routed through my audio interface, the Apogee Ensemble. I'm going D-sub out of the Apogee Ensemble into D-sub in of the Model 1.4. For anyone who's not familiar with a D-sub cable, this is what it looks like. And of course, we're going out the mixer into your ears. I have a Zoom H5, which is another audio interface recording. It's out of frame right there. So why did I choose the Model 1.4? The number one reason was because of the sound quality. It's fully analog. It's also quite compact, so I could travel with this. 4 channels. It's not like a classic DJ mixer like maybe Allen and Heath that has built-in effects, but there are 2 effects returns which you're able to mix into individual channels. So it encourages you to customize your effects, which is something I'm interested in, and I'm sure you guys are interested in as well. Also, I bought this from Moog Audio. They are a local synth shop and they distribute throughout Canada, so shout out to them. Disclaimer, as I mentioned earlier in the video, I'm pretty new to a lot of the gear in front of me. If throughout this video I'm doing things that aren't like the most efficient way of doing it, i.e. shortcuts, especially in Ableton, I'm happy to receive any sort of feedback from you guys, so just let all of us know in the comment section. I like to think of these videos as like a forum where we could all learn about this sort of stuff. In my mind, the main takeaway of this video is to build solid templates that you could use and reuse within your performance. I don't necessarily mean like a DAW template. I mean like a template that you're using with all of your gear together. Each of these pieces of gear is assigned for something specific. They all have their individual parts within the entire set. If you would like to jump to something specific within the video, I invite you to use the timestamps or chapters linked in the description. Also, a big thanks to today's sponsor, DistroKid. They are a music distribution platform that's geared towards independent artists and producers like me, and maybe you. One of their big things is just the amount of free promotional tools that they offer to promote your music, promote your singles. There are a lot of them, and we're going to be going through some standouts later in this video. To me, the way I'm using this setup now is like step 1 or iteration 1. So I'm running my full tracks. So these are not stems, they're full tracks. I'm essentially being a DJ right now. And I've chopped them into little sections here. If I open that up, so you can see the little part that I'm looping here. Let's move to the next one, right? So it shows you where you're looping or where you're not looping. The goal is definitely to have more control and to chop all of these tracks up into stems. I do have individual stems for all these tracks because I produce them. That way, if I wanted to, mute things or affect like specific parts within the track, I'd be able to do that. The main reason why I'm doing the DJ thing with full tracks is just to understand and master transitions before moving on to individual stems. And so let me show you. I'm going to attempt a transition. Let's do it. So this is the first loop of Sasquatch. It's just looping this part until infinity. And then I know that this first track here is just a drum part. So I'm gonna play that. So let's say I wanted to get out of this. Of course I could just, it's not super creative, but I could do that. I could also cut all the lows from Sasquatch and then add an effects to get out of it. 2, 3, And I have successfully transitioned. You guys want to rate my transition? Is it a ba or is it a? So what did I just do? How does this all come into play? So this is a MIDI controller, which is controlling effects within Ableton. I'm obviously not going to go through every single knob. In fact, I'm not using every single knob in this case. Essentially, every third knob is routed to the mix of any given effect. So this is the first knob, it's the mix on delay. 3 knobs down from that, dub, echo, DJ master channel, this is a reverb. And so these are the sorts of effects you could use to help you transition, or even just to add some sort of momentum within your track. So let's throw some delay on there. Dub delay, dub echo. Going into this section here, 2, 3. Of course you have high and low pass here too. So plenty to work with. Of course, if I wanted to, I could add as many effects as I want through Ableton. I could end up using all of these knobs if I want. Another thing definitely worth mentioning is my get out of jail free card. So on track 1, this is on both tracks actually. The last effects here is fade to gray, which is like, I guess it's just a straight up DJ effects, transition effects. It's perfect for that. Super easy to use. So let's say we're coming from here. Same thing, we're gonna transition into the same track. Successful transition. This also feels like an effect that helps you come to like a grinding halt if, let's say, you instantly need to change the vibe of your set. If you maybe see that your audience is not feeling something, this is just possibly the best way to get on with it, get on to the next song. In terms of effects routing within Ableton, I've made 2 cues to transition back and forth from. So that's broken down into a group. So Q1, Q2. And then those groups are routed to an audio track. So I've called it effects bus Q1, effects bus Q2. And that's where all of my effects are living. A bit more focus on the Model 1.4, which is the brain, or like, I guess the second brain of this setup. But before diving a little bit deeper into that, let's talk about today's sponsor, DistroKid. If you are an independent artist or producer, DistroKid is their #1 choice. There is a discount linked in the description, which I encourage you to use. If and only if you're interested, it would help this channel out a lot. First off, it's $20 a year to release unlimited music to all major streaming platforms. So that's cheaper than a few cups of coffee. And the thing that makes it amazing for independent artists and producers is the sheer amount of free promotional tools that DistroKid has to offer. I use many of these tools on every single one of my releases, including Hyperfollow, which is a free link and bio link. You could use it just for that, for your link and bio link. It's also applicable for your single releases. You could claim as many pages as you'd like, free of charge. I find that their promo cards are also very useful. All you have to do is queue up whatever single you want to promote, and DistroKid will generate a selection of promo cards that you could use. And they come in that nice vertical format that is just so popular these days, so useful for Instagram stories, Reels, TikTok, anything like that. If you are a Twitch streamer, DistroKid virtually allows you instant access to become a Twitch affiliate, which means that you can start earning money right away. This is just a few of many tools that DistroKid has to offer. Kind of a no-brainer if you ask me. It's 20 bucks a year. Make sure to use this discount if you are interested. This is my first legit mixer. I am planning on booking some gigs, so I figured that having a great mixer would be useful. In fact, the only other mixer that I've owned is the TX6, so big difference there, obviously. I was considering getting the Model 1, which has 6 channels, but 4 is enough, and I actually really like the compactness of this mixer. I own a scooter, and so it'd be really easy to haul this thing around with pretty much this whole setup. I could probably fit this into a big bag. Outside of EQ, there are no effects built into the unit. In fact, here, let's take a quick look at EQ and what's possible here. So high pass, low pass, this is on the master. I like to turn the resonance quite high for this one. Low pass, which doesn't have resonance. I'm a little bit disappointed about that. There's also like an equalizer here. I have a habit of just taking out the lows, boosting the highs and the mids. It's like a little textural change. You can, of course, drive your track a little bit more. Oh, that is such good quality. Okay, if you want to surgically remove a specific frequency within the track, you could also do that. So let's say, I don't know, 1K. Boost 1K. Maybe give it a bit more kick. So that's a possibility, and then there's just straight up low pass. Because I have so much effects hardware, this was the perfect choice for me because I can route those effects onto individual tracks. I can mix that in. So let's say even just using like the SP404, I can route those effects to these channels. And of course, there's the Novation Launchpad, which I'm using in a very specific and easy way. And that's for navigation throughout the set. So because I've uploaded full-on master tracks, that's what you're seeing. It's just one track. If I was to upload stems, you'd have, you know, all of this would be occupied as well. Everything is color coordinated as well, which is nice. So if I go back to this section here, that's So Meta, that's orange. The next track down from that is Sasquatch, which is red. So right, it's really easy to keep track of things. And of course on Ableton, I have my little notes too, to know what section I'm going into, where I'm coming from. One thing that I thought was really refreshing was as soon as I plugged into Ableton, it synced like that, including the color coordination. So that's something that's kind of unheard of in the DAWLESS world. And that's another thing about Ableton, because there are so many users, because it's affordable, any problems that you run into, chances are you're going to find that on the internet pretty quickly. And does this setup mean that I am done with DAWLESS? And the answer to that is absolutely not. I'm actually in the process of putting together a Digitone set. It's just a different thing. It's a different world that I'll continue to explore. That being said, hybrid setups, they do save you time. They're very tempting for that reason. Easier to use, more information on the internet, more affordable, less time consuming. I mean, in the end, 99% of people just think you're a DJ anyways, right? On the other hand, some people just don't like using laptops. Some people are on their computers all day, so they want to get away from that. There's so many reasons to go DAWLESS. I could identify with all of them, so I understand. And in the end, obviously everyone's different, so it's really just what's right for you. This is just a setup that I've been working with and I'm really excited about. Thank you guys so much for being here today. You know what to do. Like, subscribe to this channel if you're into this sort of content, especially if you're kind of inching into exploring hybrid setups, maybe. I hope this helps. If you're looking to distribute your music, go with DistroKid, discount code in the description. Thanks guys, and hope to see you soon.